the news has been dominated, for better or worse, by the Caitlyn/Bruce Jenner story. And you have mentioned that the LGBT movement and transhumanism share a lot of things in common, and that they would actually be one of your targeted groups in your strategy in your campaign. Explain what those, explain what you both share with the LGBT and transhumanist movements.
Well, the most important core philosophy of transhumanism is this idea of morphological freedom. And in a nutshell, it just says you have the right to do with your body whatever you want, so long as it doesn't hurt anybody. And I think almost everybody agrees with morphological freedom. And it's also one of the most important tenets of the LGBT movement. So, naturally, transhumanists have been reaching out to the LGBT community, which is huge, much bigger than the transhumanist community, and saying, well, look, we share these similar things. In fact, the LGBT community, the future of the LGBT movement is going to be changing dramatically over the next 10 and 15 years as, sex changes, as you have all sorts of technologies that literally change the way we look at procreation, like artificial wombs or designer babies, or do you engineer in certain traits? Do you engineer in LGBT traits if that's something that you wanted? There's so much happening with the LGBT movement right now, and it's happening because of transhumanist technology. So it's a very natural thing to try to merge the two movements and say, hey, we're on the same team. Let's put our forces together and see if we can make some change in America and around the world and get more people open to this idea of morphological freedom, which essentially says, hey, let's really protect our freedoms, because freedom is perhaps the most important thing we all have.
I would agree with that. What has been the response from the LGBT community to transhumanity?
Very good so far, very good so far. Most people are, there's a little bit of historical conflict because the LGBT has gone through a huge amount of historical pushing to gain their rights. And so they're not very happy in some ways that you have another movement that's kind of saying, well, we're on the same team. But at the same time, they also realize that transhumanism is the future. LGBT and transhumanism are going to be hand in hand no matter how you look at it, because technology affects everyone's lives. And so if you want to be a part of the 21st century, you're going to be embracing this technology. And I mean virtual sex, haptic suits, experiences like that. This is all what's going to happen. So it's very natural that they would want to, kind of go down the road together as partners and as teammates as we try to find even better paths to more civil rights. And, I've also argued, for example, that marriage probably won't exist in 50 years. So this also kind of turns the LGBT marriage thing into a further conversation as we ask, well, what really is marriage in the world when we are mind uploading ourselves, or when we're having, living 1,000 years, let's say, and no one's really having children anymore because they wouldn't have it in the first 500 years of their lives or something like that. So I think that, together we make a great team, and they've been embracing transhumanism. There's no question about that. For example, Tim Cook at Apple, who has said that he's gay, and I mean, he's a classic transhumanist. Look at the technology that they're creating, and they're soon going to be creating, iPhone cranial implants and stuff like that. So it's very transhumanist. I'm excited by the welcome we've had. But at the same time, it's important to respect the historical progress that the LGBT movement has made, because they've gone through some very tough times to arrive where they are, and I very much respect that.